Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask a Medium radio show. I am your host, Rev.Ivy Rivera, psychic medium, coming to you from the Ivy League Psychic Academy at 4511 Main Street in Amherst, New York, which is around the Buffalo area, where we are raising up the next generation of light workers. So welcome to Para X Radio. I have my beautiful co-host, Theresa Matuszak, with me today. How are you, Tree?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Holding up. We have a bunch of questions already coming in here today, but we may be able to get to a few more. The questions that we don't get to this week will transfer over into next week. So feel free to send your psychic, mediumship, paranormal, lost objects, whatever it is, developmental questions or personal questions for Tree and I in here too. You can text them 716-602-1391. I'm going to give that one more time, 716-602-1391, or you can log in to Para X Radio and send them in there through the communication log that's going on. We also can take them from Facebook. If you go on Facebook and you go into the search engine and you type in Ask a Medium Para X Radio, it'll just pop up and you can put your questions on there. And our producer here will be taking them for us. Okay, so our topic today is 5 indicators that you know you are a psychic medium or an empath. Interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be breaking that down a little bit. And as I got into it, there are actually like dozens upon dozens of indicators that you have this ability kicking in. So we're not going to get to everything, but I've kind of rounded it down to maybe 7 or 8 key things. And we'll be talking about that. We'll also be taking your questions on that. And I do encourage everybody to pay attention to whether or not you feel like your children have this going on. Biggest indicators that you have and I don't believe it's a gift necessarily, okay, but some people do have an increased amount of intuition and ability. If you have it to an increased degree, you have the gift, you would be seeing it in childhood already, okay? If not early, like 3, 5, and 6 years old, then certainly by 14, 16 years old. So I want everybody to just pay attention also to what their children are going through, kids in your life that you're aware of that may have this going on, and some of the side effects that may come along with it. Want to give some, quick information out here on some of the events that are coming up. We are running an Ivy League Psychic Fair supporting scleroderma awareness on April 16th, which is an upcoming Saturday at Seneca Hose. We have henna, astrology, angel cards, tarot, all the psychic mediums there I trained by hand. We have 2 gallery readings, one with the students and one with me, and then also my 2 daughters will be coming up on stage with me. So Garcia, psychic medium, and Rain, psychic medium. So we'll be making our debut that day as well. We also have local artists, authors, jewelry makers, vendors. It's amazing. Huge raffle. I can't even believe how much stuff is in this basket raffle. Everything from trips to go see a lizard show or have them come to a lizard party at your house.
Yeah, it's like a zoo party thing or something.
Like a zoo party at your house, to spa treatments, to it's just
wine glasses.
Yeah.
Cupcakes, I think, too.
Some of the best restaurants. It's just phenomenal. We've had a ton of support for this. So come and support the Ivy League Psychic Fair, April 16th, supporting scleroderma awareness. The following day, Sunday the 17th, I will be at Community Closet, where they're doing another fair. It's like artists and vendors, and I'll be doing readings there. We also have a ton of classes going on here at the Academy, everything ranging from psychic mediumship development to Reiki to tarot. So check out the website, ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. Anything else we want to mention real quick? There's just so much going on. I don't know.
I don't even know.
Check out the website.
My crystals class, that's coming up.
And the deadline to register for Tree's crystal class is May 10th.
April 10th.
April 10th.
Yeah, this
So I wrote it wrong on everything I posted.
It's okay. It's on the ad.
That'll be a correction that takes me an hour. Okay. All right. I do know what month it is to a degree. When you're psychic, you don't have to know this stuff. Apparently it's not important.
You just live.
We just float about. So we will be getting to your questions in just a minute, but I want to open up here with this, with this topic. 5 indicators that you are a psychic medium. I want to say one of the first ones for me was nervousness. How about you?
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, not even necessarily anxiety full-blown.
Right.
Just nervous.
It's like, at some point, I felt, like, warm, even sweaty, and just kind of felt like something was, as we like to joke around, like, something's touching my bubble. You know what I mean? Like,
Something's in your
something's
bubble.
in my bubble. So it just kind of feels like you just get nervous, you just get a little anxious. Not like, overly dramatic, though. Mm-hmm. You know, just... with whatever's
Something
coming.
is coming. And a lot of kids are like this. And adults are also this way, but we've learned to label it as something else. We've labeled it as anxiety, or we think we have an anxiety disorder. And not that it doesn't get more severe, but on a really basic level, feeling nervous, bouts of nervousness, just comes with the territory of predicting, right, using your psychic ability, even if you don't believe that you have any, to predict that something is coming in closer to you. Now, with that, because we're not all trained psychics, we don't necessarily understand what our intuition is telling us. We just read the physical symptoms as being nervous or anxiety-ridden. Anything could be coming your way. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be for someone close to you. Pay attention to when you feel nervous or anxious. I've also noticed a pattern here where, like, I'll start to feel nervous and I'm just doing something very simple. Like, I'm going to meet up with somebody for dinner. Like, no big deal. There's no reason to feel nervous. The minute I start to feel nervous, I know it's a miss. I know that person is going to, like, back out at the last minute. Something bizarre is going to happen to them when they're on the way traveling to me. Something weird is going to happen at the restaurant. You have to stop and analyze, okay, what's coming, with who, what is it about, and you can pinpoint what it is if you take the time to just slow down and do that. So I always know when I'm headed somewhere, and there's almost no point. Like, I'm either going to the wrong place, or the event's going to be shut down, there's something crazy going on. You always know your body will react. You get this?
I used to, actually. It's kind of changed for me over the years. Like, aren't we always ever changing and evolving? But it used to be where I would feel really kind of nervous, or I would just get all of a sudden, like, not really scared, but a little bit of like, what is going on? What is that? But now it's like, I just know. Like, and that's another thing. But it has changed into, I just get the information like, nope, you're not going because this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But yeah, it started out with some nervousness and just a little bit of anxiety. Like, I would say, like, it's almost like I want to say it's shaky energy.
Yeah, for sure. And kids have this so much. And, I feel terrible for them because, parents who have learned to block themselves out because society has taught us to do this. Parents should have the same level of nervousness. But when the kids have it, we're like, what's the matter with you? Why can't you be, why aren't you feeling this way in this situation? You should be. They just know something is going on, and we don't all know how to handle it. So I would recommend that when you do feel nervous, you do have anxiety issues, to start analyzing. Don't judge it. Don't be like, oh, this is bad. I shouldn't be feeling this way. No, you should be feeling energy because that's what we do. Humans read energy. Now you just have to figure out what exactly it is that you're feeling it over. Okay, and what does that mean for the situation or the person you're feeling it about? And that sort of leads me into this next one, which is a major indicator that you have a lot of psychic and empathic ability, is knowing when you meet someone that they should not be trusted. Mm-hmm. And even if we very much like them, we can just feel automatically like there is some reason why you need to pull away. What I've found with this one is that eventually what ends up happening is I can ride out the relationship, but in time they show me somehow that they are not to be trusted, right? Or they disappear in some way, something like this. You get this one?
Kind of, I guess. Like I said, things have changed so much for me over the years, but yeah, it's like feeling their intent, and it's like kind of just feeling the energy and like things that are going on. And it's like,
the intent. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
What is the other person's intent?
Right. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. That's what it is we're good at seeing how someone is presenting themselves.
Right.
Right. But what is the underlying intent?
Right. So you definitely, it's like gauging of like energy. It just feeling like you just don't feel right about the person or right about a situation. And you just basically start to get these feelings as if it's like they're up to something, or something's no good, or something's going to transpire. Mm-hmm. And you just have to kind of wait for it to unfold unless you get further information.
Right. So, this is always a choice. And this is tough. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people that are sensitive have a very strong indication that there is someone in front of them that they shouldn't trust, but everyone else is. Or that they just don't like them for some reason, but everybody else seems to, or that they feel like this person might cross them, something might go wrong. Mm-hmm. But there's a guilt element that sets in real quick with that, because then you feel guilty for thinking that. You feel like, why am I suspicious of everybody? Why do I do this? I want to say again, try not to label it as positive or negative. It is what it is. Energy reading is nothing more than energy reading. And when we have two people that don't vibe energetically, okay, that in itself does not require necessarily that you cut that person off, right? But it does require that you understand that energy. And sometimes you can work on that. That is very different from, and there are studies that actually show that 10% of people will not like you, period. 10%. Isn't that good to know? 10%, no matter what you do.
That makes me sad.
They will never like you. That explains a lot for me. I'm like, see, it's not me.
I'm like, well, who is it? Now I'm like wondering. Now I'm asking questions like, oh God, who's that?
That's kind of a lot, right? So
yeah,
it was problematic.
The human race. Oh, that's like 1 million people don't like me.
Yeah, like they won't. And there's nothing you can do, Teresa. Just shine, just shine on.
Moving on.
So there's that. But when you do feel that someone is crossing you, someone's going to do you dirty, something's wrong, it's not going to show itself necessarily right away, you really need to hold to that. And even if no one around you is agreeing with it, I feel like always put it in the back of your head, keep it in your pocket. You're kind of waiting for it to happen. It's tough to make the call when you have to be cutthroat, though. And you have to be like, no, don't like them, don't like their energy, not going to spend the time figuring out why, but they can't come in here. You know what I'm saying? That's rough.
It is hard because I'm one of those people, and I'm a Leo too, so I don't know if this is part of it. But with being able to see intent and read energies off of people, I have extremely low tolerance for even like the really dumb stuff. To where I'll just be like, yeah, no, whatever. And I turn around and I walk away. So it's kind of hard because even though a person has really no ill will, if I see that there's some negative there, I'm just like, yeah, not into that today. Like, hi, nice to see you, gotta go.
Just negative in general. Yeah, for sure. Well, it was funny because today I made a post about stalkers, because I've had a stalker issue for many, many years. And it increases in the spring and the summertime. Like, they thaw out and they start surfacing from everywhere. And, the last couple nights, I've been receiving the texts in the middle of the night and the creepy calls, and I'm thinking, this goes beyond a Facebook, a social media issue. And sometimes, they try to come into my workplace and things like this. It's outrageous. Yeah. And so I made a post today, and I said something about, they need to, people need to understand when they've crossed a boundary and it's gone from harassing somebody on Facebook into coming into their personal space. And, someone had surfaced immediately and sent me a private message and was like, I will see you soon, in capital letters. I'll be there soon. And I said, oh, really? And I said, would you like me to post that you'll be here soon? So I go and I out this guy, and some people stepped up and immediately they were like, oh, well, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. And I said, you know what? I don't care whose cousin it is.
Yeah.
This to me felt like it was some kind, and I've never spoken to him before, but it felt to me wrong and abrasive. And I, in a heartbeat, started to second guess myself. And I said, well, I don't know, if this is so-and-so's cousin, maybe he was joking, he didn't mean it that way, he's inappropriate. But you know what? When the family got back to me, they were like, yeah, he's very bad news, and we will take care of it, and blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? I've learned to always go with my first gut instinct. And I think it's actually a test to see how quickly we will make the decisions to push people away who aren't jiving with our energy, that are, you understand what I'm saying? That instead of waiting for the bad situation to surface, and granted, there are some situations where you can't. You're not allowed to do that all the time, but I think it's a bit of a test, and I would like to see people more empowered with that.
I'm failing miserably at this test, people, because
Are you? No, I don't think you are.
I don't know, kind of think I am, because like I said, with the low tolerance, I'm just like, yeah, no, bye-bye. And you know, like I said, even when those people, there are those people
that's good.
that don't have any ill will, but I'm immediately shut off by them. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, smile, nod, hey, how you doing? But yeah, no, it ends there.
Yeah,
but in this circumstance, you know, if you've got, and that's the thing, is we have to watch out and we have to protect ourselves, like everybody, not just mediums, but like everybody. So it's like getting those kind of feelings and those kind of indications, it's like, yeah, no, drop the curtain, put up the wall, do what you need to do, and if you have to go to that extent, notify the police.
And allow your children to set up those same boundaries.
Absolutely,
you know, a lot of parents come to me and they're like, well, I think my child may be empathic, or, you know, maybe a medium. They will not go around certain family members. They will not enjoy themselves at certain parties if certain people are there, and this and that. And they always want to go off and play by themselves. And, you know, when there are a lot of people around, I'm like, energy in itself can be overwhelming and too much. Here's another indicator that you have psychic mediumship or empathic ability, is that when you're in a room full of people, just the energy, whether it's positive or negative, can be absolutely overwhelming. And with the children, they can sense to a heightened degree whether or not someone is jiving with their energy or not. Now, this doesn't even necessarily mean that the adult that they don't care for, or they don't want to touch, or they don't want to be around, it doesn't even mean that they're necessarily negative or causing them harm. But how about a grandmother who's sucking the kid's energy out? How about a family member who's like loud and abrasive, you know? How about just we call them emotional vampires.
Right.
How many adults are vampires that suck and feed off of the children's positive energy? And the kid doesn't want to be drained, so they don't want to be near grandma. It's okay.
Yeah, I had this problem when I was a kid. Like, I loved being around family. I loved being at gatherings, but when I got there, I hid in my mother's armpit. You know what I mean? Like, I hid behind my dad, and it's just like, what is wrong with you? Get out here and say hello. Hi. And I'd hide again. And it's like, because the energy is so strong that it hits you to where you start to feel really overwhelmed. And kids can act extremely over anxious, hyper, but then it could be the reverse effect where they can feel depressed and they can feel lonely, and that can put off symptoms as if the child had like ADHD, you know. Absolutely. But that's what was tricky for me growing up, going to a lot of family reunion, a lot of family picnics, like every year and everything. Like, I love family.
Think about this stuff.
But
from afar, too much,
way too much. Yeah.
And I remember getting in trouble, you know, in school for, they would call us to do like, you know, ring around the rosy or whatever thing we were allowed to do in Catholic school. Right. So we, like, you know, we'd have time to get away from the desk and like go and do almost like dance time, you know. And it was very much like, you know, we start doing this and I felt excited. Like, I wanted to play with everybody else. Like, I wanted to get involved. But all of a sudden, it would turn to aggression. Yeah. And I would get in trouble a lot. And then the rest of the time, the teachers would complain, you know. Like, so, like, I'd be put in the corner for having gotten aggressive. And I don't even remember hearing the teachers yelling at me. I had no clue that I was out of bounds with my energy. Yeah. And I would go from being very, they would send me into doctors and say, you know, Ivy's melancholy. Whenever we're doing a lot of activity or the room is not in order, you know, that I would basically cash out of my body and I would go somewhere else in my head and I would stay there and I would detach from what was going on around me and they couldn't pull me back in. So I went from aggression to that, being detached. All of it was psychic, mediumship, and empathic ability.
Yeah.
And when the room started to move, that's what you do. You try to get away, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I had that same kind of similar issue where for me it was I was good, and then I would get overly, like, I would get a little bit too hyper. I'd get a little too playful, you know. But over the years, it, like I said, it would switch to where I wanted to be in my own corner of the classroom. I didn't even want to go to school. It was so bad. My mother would literally have to pull me into the school.
Right.
And it got so bad to the point where I wouldn't get out of the car or the van. And my mom goes, I'm going in and getting the principal. I'm like, fine. She goes in, and I hid in the back seat of the van behind it as if I wasn't there. And my mom's like, well, she got back in the van, and she's like, okay, she must have went in. I stayed in the back of the van the entire day.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
My parents are
sister.
driving around, and I'm like praying, oh, I hope they're not shopping today,
Oh
because
my
then they're going to open the
things
door.
that could have happened.
I had my lunch in my backpack. I was good.
You were good to go. I used to escape from the bus stop, and I would slip out of my backpack. My sister would hold on to my backpack, try driving me to the bus, and I'd slip my arms out, and I'd run and go hide in the grapevines. All day. And then my mother would be looking and have to leave work, and it was always a fiasco. If I did go to school, I hid in the bathrooms. It's too much energy. So respect your children, allow them to set up their own boundaries.
And we don't recommend this for any kids listening to the show, but, you know, you got to do what you got to. But seriously, I mean,
they're doing it anyways. Let's face it. Well, can you imagine having to go back to that period of time? Oh, my God, awful. And the solution really is not like, okay, well, then let's just keep them at home either. Because exposure is key. And that brings me on to the next thing. And then we're going to start taking some questions here. Reading energy off of objects. Another indicator that you are a psychic, medium, and empath. Energy reading from even objects like the toilet paper at the store when you're picking out a nice package of toilet paper that you're going to use. Anything that you know is going to be coming in physical contact with you. We get very, very nitpicky about the energy that object might hold. And I got some interesting questions today from people saying, well, you know, what if the object isn't old? How could it possibly hold energy? Well, it was created, it went through a factory, then it was shipped, it was packaged. You know, I mean, all this, how many people in the store touched it? If something was touched by someone whose energy that you don't like, or it sat in a negative space, before it got to the shelf at your store, you're going to dig 8 rolls back to make sure that you get the one that feels clean. Do the same thing with clothing.
I literally count. I literally go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and I grab the 4th or the 5th one, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Okay. Well, I will, like, I have to feel it all. Like, I have to literally, like, everyone. And then I have that thing too, where it's like my number's 4, so I want to go 4 back. But if it feels weird, I have to go like another 4.
You go another.
You just hope they have an ample supply.
Go to the side.
It's ridiculous.
There's
it's
only one
out
left.
of control. But literally, and I think you know, back again, being a kid and being in the classroom, when your teacher made you hold a book that wasn't yours, or borrow something, or use someone else's pencil, or sit at a desk that you felt had negative energy. Being stuck next to someone who has that same energy that's not jiving with you.
When I was a kid, I went through a Catholic school, and we had a library right in the school. And I was terrified to touch the books because of everything going on, like all the energy and everything.
Absolutely.
And so once I finally got a book, and of course I'm picking it up by my fingers, you know, and just dropping it on the table, I learned to start moving the pages with a pencil. With the eraser, and just kind of like pushing it over, because I just didn't want, if I really wanted to read the book and I didn't want to touch it, like that was the point. Like at this point I'm like, give me a pair of tongs so I can go to the library.
Let me boil this book before I have to read your Catholic-y book here. You know, it's also now into adulthood, I see it as different too. I teach my students, like, it's almost like if you're walking in the mall and you go through a pocket of weird energy, you go through a pocket of negative energy, you have to go through the food court. You know, as you hit certain stores or spots, you could feel the energy. So we not only read it off of objects, but we also read it off of atmospheres. So it's people, it's atmospheres, and it's objects. And if you have a heightened sensitivity to it, you may have been diagnosed with OCD or something like that. But really what it is, you're reading the energy off of these objects, and it's insanely accurate. Now, I know we have a ton of questions coming in, so we want to start getting to some of these. You guys have some coming in from Para X. You ready, Tree?
I am.
All right.
This one's from Karen W. Love. Sorry to go off topic because this is a great topic, but I can't get clarity on this one. I have a dentist appointment on Monday. Should I have a tooth pulled or what?
I feel like it could cause you more problems down the road. So I really feel like it may just be okay to go ahead and remove it. I wasn't sure that they were going to suggest that. I almost felt like they were going to suggest something else, like cleaning it out and recouping it. I feel, though, that there's something going on with some of the front teeth, almost like if I'm in the front and over to the side. And I'm not sure if that's chipped, or they're talking about repairing that as well. But that's also going to be happening. I want to say do what you feel is right for you. But quite frankly, I mean, instead of investing a lot of money and time into this, I would just yank the thing. It reminds me of, like, if you ever had an infection up in the gums and they can't see it on an x-ray, that could last years. And you can't clean that out unless the tooth is pulled.
I was actually just going to say that. Like, I was getting, like, antibiotic treatment or something. And I obviously don't know if she's actually been, on antibiotics or anything. But I was getting just, get it out of there. Just get rid of it. Like, I think the healing time, everything else will be perfectly fine and all that. And it's just like, if it's going to keep giving you problems after problems, because it feels like it's something it's been.
It just feels like it gets so irritated. I almost feel like there's a crack or a hole or a chip or something. And there's like, when fluid gets in it, like
nerve exposed or something.
Something like coffee, heat.
So I would say, because it feels like it's something that has been going on for a while yet. So I would just say,
I would just pull
if you don't need it, get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, blessings with that. Sending you healing and love. What's the next one?
This one's from Ceiling Cat. Will I win the lottery this month?
Jeez.
If
no.
you do, you're sharing with me.
And I won't wait. On it. I do actually feel you having good luck with scratch-offs, I'll say that. And something about the number 5, so keep an eye on those. What's next? Silly.
This
cute.
one's from Catwoman. This one's really sad. My mom passed away in October. I would like to know if there is anything she wants to tell me or wants me to know.
Okay, I do have her here, and I'm feeling a lot like either smoking or a cancerous condition, and I want to say that I'm hoping that you're not the one smoking, but I feel like lungs, chest with her coming up into the mouth. She's talking about sort of looking at, I want to say, your situation right now and feeling like you have a lot to be thankful for. You're blessed in so many ways. It does feel like things are at a little bit of a standstill for you, though. She's talking about just sort of being behind you, kind of almost looking over your shoulder. And I want to say bringing you the love and attention that you need and that you want from her, but also wanting you to kind of move on in a few different directions. I feel like you get your feet stuck a little bit in a rut, and you almost feel like, I don't want to call it depression. It's just like you have a little trouble getting your energy up and keeping it up. And so this is what she's trying to get you to do. But I feel like, too, there are a couple suggestions here for ways that you could do it. It almost feels to me like, and I'm not trying to push the product, but it feels to me like small trips, and it feels like spiritual development classes or sweat lodges. I feel like drum circles. I feel like playing, with other people who have similar interests to you will certainly raise that vibration and keep it there. And I feel like new adventures and journeys coming up from that. So she's going to be, there's also some talk of your father. So I feel like I'm with your dad, and I feel like darker hair with him when he had. He's just talking about smile and something about the money. I feel like putting the money into 2 different categories right now and trying to figure out where it's going to go long term. And I have that working out, and he's kind of watching that and showing me a big smile. So that's prosperity.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, she's definitely showing a lot of love. And I started feeling like an overwhelming feel of emotion here. Like there was just a lot of love and everything there. Like you're very much loved and appreciated and everything. And she keeps showing me a closet, and it's like she's laughing, and I don't know if it's she's hiding in the closet or you used to hide in the closet or something's going on with this closet. But she really won't go too far into this, but I don't know if it's something she kept in there which now is in your possession, or what it is. But I just kind of get this feeling of hiding in the closet, and then a boo, kind of like a haha gotcha kind of a thing. But no, she's very much in a good place, and she's sending her love and everything to you.
All right, excellent. And I feel like, yeah, let go of some things from your past, okay? Just let some things go,
forward.
please. Yes. Next one.
Oh, I just lost it.
I can go to text.
This one's from Jack Pumpkin. I just recently had a career change. I'm kind of lost. Where do you see things going right now?
Okay, let's see what's going on. I feel you're doing this for a while, Jack. I feel like you're going to be sort of going forward with it for possibly a year. Seems to me like you're finding your footing, and it's almost like as soon as you do, on to the next. So it seems to me that for a while you're almost, and I do have your work guide here, as well as what feels to me like a grandfather. I'm feeling more like on mom's side. I want to say he was thinner in his build, but he feels kind of like taller to me. He feels very strong. I'm assuming he was possibly in the military, but I also feel like he worked with his hands. And he's talking about you sort of standing on a rock, and it's almost like if this were a rock in a creek and the water's sort of rushing on around you, you have some stable footing, so you really shouldn't worry about it. The thing is, you can only stand on this rock for so long, okay? And it feels almost like it's a mossy rock. Like if you were out hiking, you would be like, whoa, I know I can't count on this for long. Like I'm going to slide off. It's inevitable. And I have you just sort of gripping it in such a way with your feet where it's like you've balanced yourself, but you're going to have to cross that river. And so it seems to me that there's more change coming. And I want to say that as the right opportunities are approaching for you, and I'm seeing the 4th month out, so possibly after you've spent a year doing this, and then we're looking at 4 months out from there, it seems to me that another rock lights up, and it just sort of comes up out of the river, out of nowhere. So everything isn't necessarily going to present itself to you. You're going to have to listen and watch, but in the way that your grandfather was giving it is this: there will be an indicator sort of in your energy. A lot like what we were talking about earlier. Not necessarily a nervousness for you, but more almost like there's an indicator in your energy that it's no longer a fit, that you no longer want to go there, that you feel like it's no longer your home, so to speak. And I feel like the minute you sense that, keep your eyes open and start watching for the next thing to come and present itself to you. It does seem like it comes from somebody else, like another male.
Dead on, lady. Yeah, I'm getting the same thing. Like, it feels like that the changes that are going to take place and that have been taking place, it's like make the necessary changes. Don't look at the little stuff. Do the stuff that needs to be done. It's like when you were saying the rocks, I was getting like in the labyrinth where the stones pop up and
yes, exactly.
That's exactly what I was getting. But yeah, it feels like right now everything is actually going pretty good, and like the change has been made and everything else, and it kind of feels like it's still at the moment, but things are gonna keep going. Things are gonna pick up again.
And I want to say things from your past are going to be surfacing, and you're going to be using things that you wanted to do in your past you already got started on. So that's going to be coming back around. This is an opportunity for you to be in a little bit of a waiting place and let that surface. Interesting stuff. Okay, I know we have some more from here, but I want to get to some that I have coming in through text.
Wait.
This is actually feedback from your last one. Karen W. Love said, "Totally nailed it. The tooth cracked and I'm on antibiotics. Right location. They want me to do a root canal and I didn't want to, so bye-bye tooth. Thanks.
Bye-bye tooth.
Bye-bye tooth.
Good
yeah.
for you. Yeah, that's not confirmation. That's not confirmation. I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and it just, I don't know if they botch it, but something doesn't go right. that she would continue to have this problem. It is just so not worth it.
I think that's the issue with, like, when they do root canals and stuff, because, I mean, they always turn to a root canal, don't they, it seems like. But it's like, if they do the root canal and everything, and they don't, like you said, if they don't correct that tooth the right way, leave, like, a pocket in there or something in there, like, it's going to happen again. So, yeah, bye-bye tooth.
But I did feel, like I said, when I felt it at the front, obviously, I mean, what I was seeing was actually coming out and you just putting in an implant. And I feel good about that. I don't feel any problem with that implant at all. Looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Okay, I want to move on here to... okay, we have from a 585, can you tell me what my life contract is? And am I on the right track? Okay, well, let's see. What are you getting with this one, Trey?
Feels like a journey. There's a pretty big journey here. I'm not getting specifics. Sometimes this happens with me, and I apologize, but you might get more. But what I am feeling is that in one of your past lives, like, it actually feels like two. It feels like two of your past lives, there was a lot that seemed to didn't get accomplished or didn't get finished. So they're both kind of spilling over. Mm-hmm. And it feels like there's a lot of lessons and a lot of things that need to be learned here. So it feels like your life is quite a journey, and it feels exhausting. I'm feeling tired just thinking about this, but it does feel like there's a lot going on, but it does feel like keep your chin up, like I'm getting a chin up, keep your head up, because things will get better as you go. It's just bumps in the road, trial and error, and all that kind of stuff.
And I'm feeling almost like you cultivated some of what you were supposed to cultivate. I feel like some of the lessons from one of the past lives you would have taken care of in childhood. I feel some of that resurrecting itself again right around now and making you kind of having to deal with some past issues, okay? And then it seems to me like the other one is pretty much complete. And so you're now cultivating this brand new, I don't even remember what the question is. I don't know, I'm on a tangent, but you're cultivating. I have your hands in the dirt and you're literally like digging and digging and digging. And what that is an indicator of is building a new foundation. And what I'm really seeing you do with that is helping others, leading others, and I want to say in communication, in some kind of, whether it's like media or it's, written word, it's actually talking or training them. I see you doing this. However, before you get to that point, and this doesn't really change, you're very much doing it on your own. You're very much going inward. You're not creating it with them. You're going inside. You're figuring out exactly what it is that you're supposed to say. And it comes from a place that's being, I almost want to say, divinely guided. Mm-hmm. So a lot of intuition coming from you, then you reaching out to others, giving that information out. And I want to say, expect to start small. And don't, how do you say that? Disgrace small beginnings. Or don't despise small beginnings, okay? Don't despise maybe you being stuck in a little bit of a field where you feel like you're doing something you love to do and communicating with the people, but it's not the topic that you want. Keep building, keep going, keep moving forward. And more need will be presenting itself to you about where you're supposed to go. So allow the universe to show you in what direction. Okay, it seems to me like you're supposed to expose a lot of things as well. All right, thank you for that question. We have another one coming from Para X.
This one's from Sherry_altcompy. Can shielding help with dealing with oppressively heavy energy?
Can shielding help with dealing with? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do. There's a lecture here coming up on Thursday called Empathic Means, which covers empathic ability that causes, ADHD, OCD, fibromyalgia, bipolar disorder, all kinds of things. And of course, we cannot prescribe or diagnose. But from heavy or negative energy, there are all kinds of physical side effects that are undeniable. And with this, you need to... and this is what the lecture is all about, is if you're going to allow the energy to come in, you have to make sure it goes back out somehow. Now, people are not only not paying attention to what's coming in, they definitely aren't putting anything back out. Mm-hmm. And they're not maintaining and cleaning. A great option is to block some of that out, which is super easy.
Yeah.
But you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to actually do it, and your intent has to be in there. Like, you have to really focus. You know, like how we ground and we put up the bubble of protection and so forth. But the thing is that if you're not, you know, thinking about it, or if you're not really putting it, if you're like, okay, I'm just creating a bubble, okay, I'm protecting. No, that's not going to work. Like, you got to put some effort into this, and you have to put your intention into it. So, because it's like, no matter what stones you wear, no matter what bubbles you're putting around yourself, no matter how many times you spray yourself down with some sage water, you know, and whatever, if your intent isn't in there and you don't want it, it's going to screw it up.
Absolutely. And you have to remember that depending on who you're around or the atmosphere that you're around, for example, if you were going into a toxic work environment and, you know, you're sensitive to that negative energy, you can't just go in. This is a common misunderstanding. You can't just go in and protect yourself and put your bubble or put your white light around yourself or put your eggshell around yourself, whatever method it is that you use. You can't just do that and expect it to last all the live long day. If you're in a super toxic environment and you're empathic on the 3rd or the 4th level, I give it 2 hours, maybe 3 max. You've got to go back and do it again. You have to cleanse yourself out. You have to go back and redo it. So people are like, oh, well, it sounds like a lot of work, you know. Well, yeah, but it's worse to allow it in. You will get sick. I mean, it does manifest as physical conditions, mental disorders as well. So absolutely find the problem, find the source that's causing you stress. I feel like you already know exactly who, and then the other one is where. So take these and start doing this exercise for yourself. You can attend the empathic means class. That's great. If you want to Skype in, that's an option. It's Thursday. But then, you know, please, spiritual hygiene, redo it every couple hours. And that's it. After a couple months, it's a reflex reaction.
Pretty much,
It's just the intention of your thought.
Right.
Blocked. Done.
This is why I avoid malls and big gatherings.
That's a lot of work for you.
I don't even know how I survive at the Buffalo Sabres games, or probably because I love hockey too much, and then I'm just blocking everything else out. I mean, with thousands of people, it's like, why am I here? You know, what did I do? But no, and I stay away from malls. I'm good with outdoor venues because it feels like you're outside, so the energy's going someplace else. It's not, you know, kept in a secluded area.
Right. That is a problem with the mall. I know. The walls are an issue, and it holds so much energy. I mean, crying out loud. I love New York. I don't know how I can love New York. I feel like if there are enough people, I can get lost in the energy, and it somehow works. But yeah, something like a mall where it's like broken and choppy and it's stress related and there's a lot of addiction issues to shopping and spending and tension around money.
Yeah,
it's toxic, man.
Terrible.
Cesspool. Yes. What do you have another one coming in here, or should we get over to Facebook?
We have one more. This one's from username Yup.
Yay!
Since I was young, I've felt that this is my last incarnation. I know that sounds crazy. A well-respected once medium told me that I don't really have to do with anything this life if I don't want to. I should have asked him what he meant, but I didn't. Do you think I am at or near my last incarnation on Earth?
I think absolutely it's possible, and I actually believe for my own self that I am. I, opposite from what you were told, feel though like I have a lot to do. I don't necessarily feel when I go back into my past lives or I look at my life contract, I don't necessarily feel that I have to accomplish, how do I want to say this? I don't feel like there's a ton that I have to necessarily figure out while I'm learning lessons, but I feel like there's a lot that I have to do. And I think that's what he meant with you, is that if you were to look in your past lives and say, well, what has trickled over into this one? You know, what major lessons do you have to learn? What's going on? Is it going to hold you back? There may not be very much there. I think, though, that there's no way that you came here with really nothing to do. I mean, it tends to be that this is actually a more difficult one, especially if this is your last. There should actually be a lot to do. You should be feeling like you have a lot to do. But it seems to me that I think you know what you're supposed to be doing. And if for you sense that that's more about being aware and understanding people and situations and sort of just evolving your consciousness, then therefore for you, that's, what it is. What are you getting with him?
I'm kind of getting possibility of one more. And the reason why I keep feeling like one more is, and I keep getting that, depending upon what is done here and now, will determine whether or not there needs to be one more.
So don't snooze.
So don't snooze.
I wouldn't be like, nothing for you to do.
Don't sit
There's
there
another
waiting.
one. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely feels like, depending upon circumstances and different things and lessons missed and everything else, there possibly could be one more. So it's almost like, here's one, and then I kind of feel like over here, it's almost like it's in the shadows. So it's going to be determined on what happens here now.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. So just stay awake, stay awake. But you don't have to rely on other mediums to confirm what you already know. Mm-hmm. That is the most important thing.
I love life too much to not want to come back. So I'm just I hope I have 100 more.
Oh, really?
If I can keep living them the way this one's going, sure, I'm coming back.
I like work. I definitely like work. I don't know that I like this much work, but I like work. I plan to come back and do things, but it would be very refreshing to have it as an option versus, I feel like I really needed to get this done. What do you have coming in from over here, or are we looking at something else?
I have 2 questions,
Facebook.
Actually, from Facebook. We're going to go with this one first.
There was one in a message. I don't know if you found
this is
it.
the one I got. So this is from Christy, and I'm in the process of searching for a home to buy, and we came across one that we are about to submit an offer. When we were told yesterday the seller's not accepting anything, but we won't know anything for a couple of days. I'm anxious and we really love this house and I'm hoping it will be ours. Do you have any insight to calm my nerves?
Okay. So basically she submitted, they accepted. Is that what she said? She submitted, they accepted. Okay, and so she's wanting that one. Yeah, I feel like this is going to work out. It does seem to me like it comes back to you a little bit kind of questionable, almost like they come back to you and I'm not sure if the seller tries to up it real quick or tries to get you to throw in a little bit more. It's kind of like, let's get a little bit more out of them. Mm-hmm. I do absolutely feel like you're being read. I feel like your anxiousness, your desire to claim this home as your own is affecting the sellers to a degree. And it seems to me that you're showing more interest than other people. Okay, so what I want to say about that is that even though you're showing more interest than other people, you are not by any means sort of the last one. You weren't the first, you're not the last, and they know this. So they're in a position to be able to come back and be like, I'm going to get you play a little bit more money. And yeah. I think that you can have what you want, but I feel like you better have some ideas on how it's still going to remain feeling good to you before you start. And I understand you're really trying to hold yourself back. I know that you are, and I feel you talking to a male. I don't know if that's like your husband or what's going on, but I almost feel like there's a male next to you who's kind of like, oh, this is how it needs to be, and I feel like that's true too. So you may want to kind of pull your energy back from it and actually let the dealings go on there, because you're definitely giving off strong information.
It feels like a little bit of a ping-ponging, too. And I'm right there with you with the whole, well, let's see what we can get. Because, it's like if somebody's going to sell their house, they want to get what they can get out of it, right? So that's what it feels like. But it feels like a male. I'm kind of getting a male, but it's not in the male where it's in the supportive role. It's in the opposition role where it's just kind of like, well, if I'm going to go, I want this and I want that. Like one of those older gentlemen that are just really just too settled in their ways, but I kind of feel like him caving too. So just put the positive energy out there, the positive flow out there, with good intent that this is where you want to be, but don't, like you said, don't push it out too much further. Like kind of bring it back. Just send positive vibes, not your energy.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and we have another one here, and then I have a whole bunch of texts. We're not going to be able to get to all these today, but...
Should I go to this one?
Sure.
Okay, this one is from Brittany through the our Pair X event page. Are psychic abilities something that is passed on through bloodline or acquired from past lives? in addition, what effect does past life knowledge and ability have on the current one is embodied in?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. Absolutely, it's hereditary, and we have a lot of scientific studies that show that psychic ability and empathic ability, mediumship is pretty poo-pooed. I mean, we're still considered, this is just fraudulent. But as far as psychic and empathic, yes, it is hereditary. So you have this handed down generation to generation, and you can clock it by looking back at your family in two different ways. You have your psychics and empaths who embrace the ability. They were great healers, typically. Maybe they were great with the children in the family. Maybe they were teachers or nurses or firefighters or cops. They enjoyed taking care of other people. They tend to also be connected to the earth in a lot of ways. Maybe had a house with quite a lot of land, or they did farming work and things like this. They like to use their hands. They were very active and healthy with it. Then you have the counter effect of that. So then you should also be able to track family members down through your bloodline who had the intuition gone awry, where you'll see aggression, mental disorders, depression, drug and alcohol abuse, domestic issues, okay, all of that. As far as your past life stuff is concerned, it absolutely trickles back into this life. And what you would basically, have with that is the same that you would have in any other area. Where if you were really good at math, you may have in past lives where you were an architect, you built huts or I don't know, whatever, but in this one, you would be more like able to do time travel. You would have a lot of deja vus. You would be able to see into other people's past lives because you would have had a lot of hands-on experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of deal with mine all the time, or recurring dreams as to different things I did and so forth, so it comes up that way. I think what's interesting is that I'd say for myself, where I grew up just being this way, and I know my mom has certain abilities, and I know I had a great aunt who read tea leaves, but where else is it? So you're when you're really interested in it and you have it and you're developing, you want to know more and more and more, and sometimes you can't find those answers unless you do try something like a meditation with your guides, Akashic Records guide, or whoever you can to help you kind of determine where it is in your line. Like me, I'm just recently finding out that I've been sandwiched by both sides of the family. It's on like my mother's side, and now it's on my mother's father's side. So this is getting quite interesting for me. So now I'm curious to be like, well, gee, did my dad have something? I'm going to,
Oh, yeah, for sure. The way he was. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. And I would say absolutely, because if you know that you have people in your bloodline where they were a certain way, and then you're a certain way, yeah, I would say that there are certain... But let me ask this, though. Like, do you think it would be certain abilities are hereditary versus everything? Because I know we can develop everything.
Yeah, certain abilities are also hereditary.
Okay.
Like my grandmother, who could communicate telepathically, was already a medium before she had the stroke and had to communicate telepathically. She was known in the family for that. Seeing the dead, she was already a medium. That was handed down, and so it became okay to talk about that one. But there were other ones we didn't necessarily talk about. There were other abilities we didn't, dabble into. You can also look at your bloodline. I mean, what is your race? I'm Taino Arawak, so that's like Puerto Rican Indian. So it runs in through that line. And then, the other side of my family is French, so it's running in through that line. There are a lot of people, too, who are reincarnated, and you could be like Italian in this life but have a lot, and everyone would mistake you for being something very close to that. And if you tend to pick up on like Spanish, you hear things in Spanish or another language. A lot of kids who have been reincarnated will write in a foreign language when they're learning and being taught and draw funny symbols. I mean, there are a million different ways that it surfaces. We tend to be very close in this life to whatever we looked like in our previous one, I'm finding. So if you're Italian here, you may have been Spanish in the last one, or something like this. It's just
it's interesting.
And where we're even drawn to travel. Look at where you're drawn. If you have to go to Egypt, you probably lived there at some point. Yeah.
Oh, I'm convinced that my soul started in Cairo, with the pyramids and stuff, because I have always been attracted to that.
I have that one, too.
I have a pendant that has my name in hieroglyphics on it, and I love Horus. And
that's where we know each other.
I think so.
And my soul group shows up, and people say the same thing to me. You and I were in Egypt together. Interesting stuff. I just want to throw a couple more of these, at you guys here. Other ways, other indicators that you are a psychic medium or empath. You see the spirits when you're younger, and you may continue to see them especially at night when the veil is lifted, meaning when you're dozing off or when you're waking up. Also, visit dreams from your loved ones who have passed away, having a lot of deja vus, a feeling that things are familiar, and physical impressions. Feeling in your body what other people around you are actually experiencing. It is not your own energy, but if you walk into a room and someone has a migraine, someone has the stomach flu, someone else is depressed because of their breakup, guess what? You become all of those things.
Absolutely.
That is a sign that you have this going on.
That's a tricky one to get under control, too.
Absolutely.
It really, really is.
If you guys are looking to book a reading with me, okay, find me at ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com or on Facebook at Ivy Rivera. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. Just type in Theresa Tree Matuszak Psychic Medium.
Okay, awesome. And we are always inviting you guys to come and join us for classes here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where we are raising up the next generation of light workers.
Good night.
Good night.